Do it.
All right, very good. Thank you so much for joining us. I see Deanna and a couple other friends here. I'm Shelley Valett. I'm a director in Northern California, and I want to thank you so much for logging in with us for a few minutes to get some more information about options on freezer meal workshops and how they work. So what I've kind of done is broken this up into a couple different segments, and I'm looking for feedback. So if you're watching this, in the recording later on, shoot me a note, let me know what you thought of it. You can find me on Facebook. And in fact, if you are watching this now and you saw a note about this particular session on Facebook, do send me a message so that I know that you watched it and I can follow up with you. So I'm going to kind of just go over two different categories of information. Number one is kind of how the freezer meals work. And then after that, it's how, the different options on how you would actually get them into your kitchen, because there's a whole bunch of different ways to do that. So first of all, what you need to know is that the freezer meal workshop concept, as an overview, it's amazingly fabulous. Of course, I'm very biased, but I've had hundreds now of people come to workshops, and what they do is they pick a menu in advance. They register for their workshop, and I send them a detailed shopping list. And they bring their groceries along to the workshop, and they make 10 meals, fresh ingredients, and all the raw ingredients go right into the freezer bags. And they take those home and put them in the freezer. And now they've freed themselves up for 10 different nights of not having to even fuss over dinner and stress, or just basically pull it out of the freezer or out of the fridge and put it in the pot and cook it up for the family. And we've had people return again and again and again to the freezer workshops, and I'm very passionate about sharing them. So what I did, what you can expect when you come, and I've kind of set up a little bit of a test station for you here, just so that you can see. But when you come to a workshop, you actually have a set of spices that are all ready for you. And these are what makes your meals absolutely delicious and yummy, is our Pampered Chef seasonings and spices and oils. This one is garlic infused canola oil, and there's a lemon rosemary rub and cherry balsamic vinegar. Delicious, delicious. And they're designed to be used in the menu that you pick. So you'll have your seasonings and your spices. You're going to have all of the Pampered Chef tools that you need to make your meals, whether it's the manual food processor for your homemade basil pesto, or the food chopper for your onions, or the good knives and scrapers and everything. And you basically get to play and use my Pampered Chef tools and make a nice mess in my kitchen, because it's real easy here for me to just tidy up afterwards and throw everything in the dishwasher. So let's make the mess here instead of in your kitchen. I'll have your recipe cards all set up, and this is what you follow as you're assembling your meals. So those are all prepped and ready for you. And you, of course, get me to help guide you through the workshop. And you're going to probably go home with some of the extra seasonings and spices that are little bits here and there left over. So you'll be able to use the rest of these. But these are yours to take home, plus a folder full of extra goodies for you. So at the end of the meals, at the end of the workshop, you go home with your meals. And those can be done if you pull one of them straight out of the freezer. They can be cooked up in a crock pot very easily. And during the workshop, though, what I do is I teach you a bunch of different cooking techniques for your meals, whether it's with the magic pot, the deep cover baker, or and that would be in the microwave or in the oven, or what has become everybody's favorite, in the rock crock, on the stovetop, microwave, oven, under the broiler, or out on the grill. And one of the things that everybody comments and raves about after they finish their first workshop is how many solid, helpful tips you learn during the course of making these meals, just to help you on a day-to-day basis with getting dinner and all of your meals done for your family. So there's a ton of little tips that you learn as you go through. I'm just going to give you the smallest of examples. So when we get ready and you're standing here and you've got your cooler and your groceries full of all those fresh ingredients, we have you take your freezer bag and you put your label on it for the meal that you're going to start with, whether it's garlic bread meatball subs or chicken, artichoke chicken, or lemon basil meatballs. And the first thing I have you do is fold your bag over so that you have a collar right here. And that actually helps the bag stand open so that you can actually get the food into the bag without making a great big mess. But this is also an insurance piece, because we're not going to get food hung up in this zipper, which means you're not going to have an explosion of spilled food all over your freezer a week from now when you least expect it. So you set up your bag like that, then you go and you we open up your first seasoning, and maybe it calls for 2 tablespoons of the lemon rosemary rub, and we have fabulous measuring tools, but we're all trying to be as efficient as possible. So when you're opening this up, the cap will hold 1 tablespoon of rub. So you just measure it out, dump it in the bag. Then you move on to the chopped onions, and maybe use the food chopper and our knives and my veggie wedger. And then if you have to open up a can of stewed tomatoes, I teach you how to use the can opener and the cheese grater, and you get to use my great forged cutlery. So there's a lot of tips along the way, and a lot of learning going on. In fact, I make sure that everybody leaves knowing exactly options for how to freeze their meals, how to thaw them, and how to cook them. And we really customize it based on your needs. If you have a big family, we know we can enhance the meals and make them serve a larger portion. I have a lot of people who are vegetarian or no dairy or gluten-free. So they're very flexible that way. A lot of people like to do the freezer meal workshops with a buddy, or lately I have a lot of fans of freezer workshops bringing their kids along. I mean, I don't know about you and me, but they need to learn how to cook, and what a great way to expose them to making their meals in the kitchen and learning safety tips, knife handling tips, food sanitation. I'm a registered dietitian and I have a HACCP background, so that's kind of extra little tips and techniques that you learn along the way with food safety. So you can bring a child along to cook with you. You can bring your husband along, or you can just come along with your best friend. A lot of folks want to know what it costs to come to a freezer workshop. The registration fee ranges about $70 to $80, and that covers all of your seasonings and spices, your detailed shopping list that I'm going to send to you. Those folks who come and do their workshops here in my kitchen go home with their own freezer meal file. It has copies of the recipes for the menu that you picked, because you know that you're going to fall in love. Your family's going to want to make these ones again, so you've got the recipes available. It's got a chart for your fridge so that you can keep track of your meals. You pop this up there, and when you pull one out of the freezer, you check it off, and that way you're not digging around in your freezer to figure out how many more meals are still there. Plus, this is a place that has some serving tips and suggestions, and it's the place where you keep track of geez Louise, make a double batch next time, or you know what, that one wasn't a hit, we're never going to make it again. But it's a good record for you. Of course, you've got your labels for your bags and a detailed chart of different cooking methods for your meals, whether it's for the grill pan or the crock pot or skillet on the stovetop oven and whatnot. It's all here for you. Tips for using those leftover spices, and just all kinds of wonderful goodies. Plus, you get me, and I'm a very big, helpful resource for you too, right, Deanna?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Great. So really, when it comes down to it, folks are spending, they do their registration, let's say on the high end, it's $80. And then they go and they buy the groceries for 10 meals. Each one of these meals, officially, the instructions say that they serve 4 to 6 servings. I've been cooking these and serving my family for over a year now. We easily get 5, 6, 7 servings out of each one. Mm-hmm. But if you do the math, it comes out to less than $4 a serving. It really is a function of how you shop, whether it's organic or whether you're buying, high-end meats, or if you partner with your buddy and go in on buy in bulk from Costco, you can get your costs down to like under $3 per serving, which is very affordable. I challenge you to get through McDonald's or the pizza parlor for less than that.
Yeah.
And these foods are so much more healthy and from fresh produce, fresh ingredients. So that kind of wraps up the big picture of the program. Deanna, is that helpful to you? Any questions about how it actually works?
As far as how it works, I do not think so. It's good to know that you can actually get the spices in your hand, and you can actually take the rest home with you. It's a great thing, especially to the guests who are coming. It's always nice to have a little goodie bag to take home with you that you can use.
There's usually a free gift as well, so you go home with
Okay.
all kinds of perks. But I get that reaction a lot, in the flurry of getting ready to come to a workshop. They just don't remember, like, oh my gosh, I get to take the rest of this garlic infused oil home. Wow, really? Oh my goodness, my family's gonna freak. And we usually make a treat to serve to everybody while they're here at the workshop. Lately, it's been a loaf of homemade no-knead artisan bread, and it's very handy to have that garlic oil sitting right here at that moment when I hand you a little plate with bread, because dipping the oil in the cherry balsamic vinegar for a little snack while you're finishing up your last of your 10 meals is no bad thing whatsoever. Okay, so how do you take advantage of these freezer workshops? There's a bunch of different ways. So the first one that most everybody has been doing is you attend a workshop. I hold them in my home in Concord. And when you get here, you can see I've got a lot of space. I can accommodate 12 or more cooks at a time. No, we are not actually cooking. We are assembling. So you're chopping, dicing, slicing, measuring, pouring. That's what you're doing. But we're not actually cooking. The meals go into the bags completely raw and freeze raw. And then they get cooked the night that you want to serve them. So attending a workshop is one really simple way. So you don't have to do anything fancy. All you have to do is tell me what menu you want to do and register and pick your date and show up. So it's not having a Pampered Chef party, although you're always welcome to do that. The next way is if your friends are, I don't know how well you can see this, but I can definitely provide it for you. If your friends are kind of intrigued, or you're intrigued, but you just can't get anybody who's dying to just jump on board and come on Saturday to make their meals, you can hold what's called a taste of a freezer workshop. And I have a huge one tomorrow night. In fact, we're up to 25 RSVPs, and we're going to show them how to make artichoke chicken. So here's how that works. It's a taste of a freezer workshop. I'm pulling the artichoke chicken out of my freezer and taking it over to my host's house. And we're going to pop it into the rock crock and cook it. While it's cooking, and it takes maybe 12-15 minutes for dinner to be ready, we're going to put on some rice and finish off a salad. And we're going to assemble just that one recipe, the artichoke chicken. It takes maybe 5 minutes to put it together. So everybody will help, and that will show them how it works. We're going to, we'll sit there and have dinner together, and folks will, of course, want to stock up on Pampered Chef tools like crazy. So if you're hosting one of those, you get the host rewards. And then everybody registers and signs up to attend a workshop or to get a to-go pack so that they can then make their own meals or come to one. Okay, so that's a taste of a workshop. Another fun idea is called a fill a freezer party. So this is a class where, let's say, Deanna, you know that you really want to get these freezer meals in place for your family. And you want to have your friends over to help you fill that freezer. So we pick a menu for you, and you do the shopping in advance, and I come to your kitchen or wherever we're going to hold it. And I set up a couple different stations, show everybody how it works, and together we bang out and make you 10 meals. We eat one of them because you want to serve something yummy for your friends, and we put 9 of them in your freezer. And again, you get the host rewards because that's a Pampered Chef party, and folks will schedule their own fill a freezer get-togethers from yours. So that's a very nice way of not needing to, get on my schedule and come to my house for a workshop, and especially if you think it would be a fun thing for your friends. There's a couple of versions of that. One is a baby shower. and I did this a ton this summer. If you know somebody who's having a baby, and this is a beautiful gift to give to them, they all pitch in. Everybody comes to the shower. We're filling the new mom's freezer. I don't know about you, but when I was expecting my little ones, people wanted to help, and we wanted the help. We needed the meals because I was completely occupied with the little ones. But there was nothing worse than having someone knock on the door with the 5th lasagna of the week, and I just got the baby asleep finally. So instead of that, your friends can come to the baby shower, and we make up the meals for your menu and put them in your freezer. And then you're ready and available for you to pull out when you need it. So that concept can work for a baby shower. I've done it for a bridal shower, believe it or not. We've done it for birthday parties, you know, for the friend who has everything and you cannot figure out what the heck to get for her. We can actually do your birthday party where we're stocking her freezer, and that's everybody's gift to her. Everyone tosses in $20 and she's got 10 meals. How cool is that? And we make chocolate lava cake and put a candle in it and eat up one of the meals. So just some extra ideas. The most valuable one that has touched me is when somebody was, you know, periodically we all need an extra hand. And so if you know somebody who's got a crisis going on, you can do these meals for someone else. You can have a get together, or you can bring people to one of my workshops and we can make the meals for somebody who, you know, is dealing with a severe illness or has got a injury, or they just need some help. And this would be a great way to help them out. A lot of the churches have us do freezer workshops for their congregation, and everybody comes and makes their own meals, but they all contribute one meal to put in the freezer at the church. So that and there's usually every church or congregation or synagogue has got some particular program to help their members when they're in need, and they'll take a meal. Well, if you can pull it straight out of the freezer in the church's kitchen and either put it into the freezer at the person's house, or, you know, cook it up and take it for them, they're available, and that way it's just a real fast and easy way. These meals hold 6 months in the freezer easily. I had a gal tell me she pulled one out after a year, and it was fabulous. I don't recommend it, but it worked. So another concept with freezer meal workshops that's become hugely popular is as fundraisers. So I have several schools, churches, the Key Club, the Kiwanis Club, where they offer freezer meal workshops, and we do it as a fundraiser for their organization. Currently, the band at our high school is doing this, and it's kind of an ongoing thing. So when somebody from the band wants to come and attend and restock their meal, they just tell me so, and they get a percentage of the registration cost, and then anything else that they end up ordering along the way. So it's a steady source of funds for whatever group you're working with. And like I said, churches, schools, they love this. They love this because, especially at schools, it's a win-win. If you're giving your parents a method for getting dinner done in a timely fashion and it's healthy and we're not running through the drive-through, their families are saving money, the kids are eating better, the families are less stressed, the grades are better, the concentration at school and the test scores and everything related to that increases. You can find hundreds of studies that talk about the benefits of family mealtime and how that affects kids, teenagers, and the family as a whole, and kids going forward into college. And so there's no doubt about that, and this ties right into it. So finally, I have a brand new offering for my freezer meal program, and it's called Freezer Meal to Go Pack. I have a huge growing group of freezer meal veterans, and they come back to my kitchen month after month after month and do their meals. And some folks they just want to bang out the meals in their kitchen. They've learned all the tips and tricks, and they don't necessarily want to bring their groceries over and do it in my kitchen. And it's more fun that way. But if you just want to get a freezer meal to go pack, all you have to do is pick a menu and pay the fee for it. I mail you the seasonings and spices and anything else you want to add to your Pampered Chef order. And then I email you all the recipes, labels, shopping list, and everything, and you're good to go. So you still have access to me as a little helper if you run into any questions, but you can make them in your own kitchen, solo, or you can do freezer meal to go packs for you and 5 of your friends. You know, especially if you know the drill and you've got it down. So the last bit that I would love to tell you about is I currently am doing personally upwards of 4 to 5 freezer workshops every single month. I'm in my 15th year as a Pampered Chef, but freezer meals have taken off in the last year and a half, and it now has become the majority of my business. If this sounds at all intriguing, I really, really want you to talk to a friend, mention it to, come get into a freezer workshop, but specifically what we're desperately looking for is more freezer meal consultants to lead the workshops. Clearly there's a learning curve, and you've got me to teach you how to do it. You start small. You don't necessarily do 12 at a workshop like I currently do. That took a little while to get there, but I sure hope that you'll spread the word. It's a remarkable way to have access to all the freezer meal menus and content and spices and whatnot, but more so we're really, we're growing and we're booming, and I'm just looking for referrals for folks who would love to run their own schedule, to decide how much they earn, to work really hard for themselves versus somebody else. And this is a brilliant way to do it. And we are hiring, and I hope that you will spread the word and think of your favorite friends and a gift that you can give to them by recommending me to them. And I'll take good care of you or your friends if you want to come and give that Pampered Chef apron a try. So that's about the end of it. I'm going to wrap it up and open it up for questions. Are there any specific questions or areas that really appeal to you of how I describe this?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is just how, I know you briefly talked about pricing for getting basically the care package, and how do you actually price that out?
Honestly, it's the cost of the materials. So if you flip open any Pampered Chef catalog to the back, we're known for having just amazingly yummy and beautifully made spices and blends that are kind of idiot proof. You don't have to figure out. If you're having an Italian meal, you use the Italian seasoning. If you're having, if you're doing taco night, then it's the Southwest seasoning. So they're beautifully organized blends, and most of your fee is simply paying for those spices. But what I want you to consider is it's really just part of your grocery budget for the month. So if you were spending $200 grand total between your shopping, your groceries, and your registration, that's a chunk of your grocery budget for the month. And I will tell you, and you can ask anyone who's been to these workshops, what they find is that your grocery bill will plummet in the weeks and months after you come to your first workshop, and from then on, every time you restock, because you're not running to the grocery store. Your meals are planned out. You're not wasting as much food. Really, all you're going to need to be going and getting is milk and bananas and stuff for a salad to go with in general, because everything is planned out. If it's a Southwest chicken and rice, the rice is packaged with the meal, or the pasta for the basil chicken Alfredo pasta is got a label on it and it's in the cupboard, so it's ready for you. So it's a very smart way to cut your grocery bill. Especially if you look at your budget and you're spending way more than you need to be on food for your family, let's get you into one of these. Does that help a little bit, Deanna?
Definitely, yeah, that's a great help.
Very good, very good. Can you think of any other specific questions?
I don't think so. I think that's a pretty good thing.
It has absolutely been. And we've revised things here in my kitchen so that we can accommodate more people at every workshop. We had 11 cooks on Friday night, and it's crazy. Yeah. It's a little nuts. But boy, there's this amazing sense of satisfaction when they leave here with those meals, and we take pictures and high five, and they brought wine. So
oh, nice. Big party.
It was a big party. What any particular part of this program that connects with you more than another? I mean, did you learn anything that you didn't know already about it?
Well, I mean, the fact that you can do a fundraiser with it as well is great, and you can work with like local churches. That's wonderful. And I was actually planning to go to churches around my area to talk with them about doing fundraisers to raise money for them. And freezer workshops would be great for that. And I've been planning to do that with PTAs as well
Yeah.
in my area. So
Yeah.
it's learning all that is just very interesting.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for spending a few minutes with me. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the recording. I will, down here on the bottom of the screen, you have a little chat button. Can you see, that? If you open up the little chat, and what it is I just, and that wasn't what I wanted to post. So the information on how to get info about these freezer workshops. So if you found a note from me on Facebook about joining us today, go back to Facebook and message me. Let me know that you were here on this call. And if you need to reach out to me to get into my Facebook fan page for freezer meals specifically, that's where I'll kind of route you. And that's the place where I put up the upcoming dates and the menus. And then it's a forum for my freezer meal veterans and soon to be veterans to ask questions and get a little bit of hand holding. But I do have openings for workshops on October 3rd at 6 o'clock, the 4th at 1 o'clock, and then there's 3 more dates on the calendar already, and we're still adding more all the time. So please do join us at one of them and bring a friend. Okay, thanks so much, Deanna, for being here. And
Thank you. All right.